This week, Matt, G4 apparently exists. Okay, yeah, sure. Didn't think that was going to be a thing that I saw today. And we saw some Halo things from Microsoft, along with some other things, but obviously the main talking point that everybody has is Halo. So,
yeah, I didn't know if you were going to notice the G4 thing that I kind of stuck in there.
I didn't need to see it from you, my friend.
I didn't even realize, I kind of didn't pick up on it until a couple.
I was scrolling through the Twitter feed, and everybody's talking about it.
Yeah,
a lot of former people too. But anyway, yeah. So what are we doing? A lot of former people that have clearly nothing to do with it.
But, okay, that we'll have to talk about that because I haven't.
We'll get there to the end of the show.
You know more than I do about it, apparently. So
yes.
Anyways, this is the Gamers 2 podcast for July 24th, 2020. Your weekly roundup of news and commentary related to the video game industry and anything else that might pique our interest. As per tradition.
Gaming show channels.
Long dead entertainment. Yeah, long dead entertainment formats.
And like a phoenix rise from the ashes? I don't know about that.
I don't know. What we could say, we can save it for later. We're going to talk about it anyways. Or we can talk about it now. I don't know.
No, we're just going to save that because I want to get right into it because I feel like we're going to spend a lot of time in Microsoft land.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we will spend equally, not as much time, but proportionally enough time on G4.
Yeah, I threw that in there. I was like, oh, this is going to ruffle some feathers.
It's going to ruffle some feathers, and it's not going to rustle any jimmies, which I think is weird. But we'll talk about it later because the reactions I'm seeing, it's that whole expectation thing where everybody's just got to step back again.
That.
But Matt, if you're waiting for that to come out, which is apparently in 2021, do I have some things you could play first?
What are those things?
Oh, those things are Into the Radius on PC, Golftopia on PC,
curious,
Rock of Ages 3, Make and Break for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and Stadia, and Carrion for PC, Xbox, and Switch, and Roki for the PC.
Roki. I'm real curious about this Golftopia.
It is. Did you ever play Sid Meier's Golf? Might have been the entire title.
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. I might have the CD somewhere.
Sid
I played that quite a bit.
Golf. Like how do you go from Civilization to golf?
Sid Meier had a shit ton of games.
Okay.
So think of Civilization as like the most successful one. So that's what you know. But there was Pirates. There was Golf. There were definitely other things. I just remember there also being a Pirates one. There might have been like a city one or like a resort type one or something.
So here's the issue with sitting at a computer doing this is I can look everything up now.
Yeah.
Formula One racing he did. First game, it looks like.
Oh, all right.
1982.
All right. Yeah, there's that. But the Sid Meier's Golf, you ran a golf resort. It wasn't the Civilization part where you have like a versus and you win that way or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was more the like Sim City, it's a sim game. It's Sid Meier's, but it's a simulation game where you own a golf resort, golf course or whatever. And you pick your biome, your clubhouse, you're leveling up golf carts, and you're having beverage vendors and groundskeepers and all those things. You're building the holes out how you want to have dog-leg lefts, rights, par 5s, 3s, where you put your lakes, where you put cart path. If you're going to host a tournament, you have to get your island to a certain amount of thing to host tournaments. So then you have golfers that I don't remember, but Gary Player's name might have been in the game. I don't think he was obviously truly associated with it, but they might have licensed it enough to at least have Gary Player, or they had somebody that was like your renowned person. You had like a golf pro, or your golf pro clubhouse person on your island to teach and be like the one player at your course and stuff. I played way too much of it. It was a fun time.
It's called Sid Meier's Sim Golf.
Sim Golf, that's what it was. Okay.
Sim Golf.
Yeah. I might still have the CD somewhere. Or you might be able to find it for like $2.99 on some digital site. And then run it in compatibility mode with Windows 98.
And still have it work like 25% of the time.
Yeah. if that, you might be lucky. Golftopia is in that vein, but futuristic.
Yeah.
So you're building a golf course with spaceships and giant wind turbines and elevators and all this futuristic shit. I think teleporters. I think there's in the trailer you might be able to hit like a ball through a teleporter and have it drop out somewhere else.
I mean, that's what we need, though. Is we need to bring golf into the future.
Yeah, yeah. We need the MLB Slugfest of golf. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if you just have players stand in front of others and get drilled by a driver shot off a tee or something. But
that's dark.
I mean, Slugfest was basically the same thing, where you took your helmet off and I think hit other players with it. I think that happened at Slugfest. I know it happened in that NFL Blitz, but I think it happened in Slugfest too. So yeah, Golftopia, Matt. Golftopia to get you in your fix before Golf 2K21 comes out.
It's all over when that happens.
Which is next month.
So,
should I take odds?
That's up to you. I mean, really, that's up to you. We're probably going to have to do some tomfoolery for Microsoft because there's a lot there.
Okay.
But it's, relatively short. So
I mean, I'll just do all of Microsoft if you want me to. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, I don't care. If you want to do all of Microsoft, you should probably take evens then.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. I'll take evens.
Okay.
I'll take evens and then realize that as I say that I don't have a drink anymore. But I'll be all right. I'll power through. We're good.
That leaves me to number 1, which is Nintendo held a short event that they are calling a Direct Mini Partner Showcase. Nintendo made it sound like we'll be seeing more Directs similar to this one. Here's what we saw. Did you watch this, by the way?
No.
All right, so it literally was 8 minutes long.
Oh, I should have watched it then.
That's why I was like, do I want to watch this? And then I clicked on it. It was like, 8 minutes. It's like, yes. All right, so Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer is getting DLC, which I'm not a Switch person. I've never heard of this game.
Yes, you have. So, remember, do you know Crypt of the Necrodancer?
No.
That's a game that's been on Steam and whatever forever. It was a dungeon-based style game or whatever, but you were playing to the rhythm. Like you had to move and stuff to it's all beat-based essentially.
Yeah, I saw that it was rhythm-based, which
right
makes sense for the DLC, basically.
So Crypt of the Necrodancer existed. Then they made Cadence of Hyrule, which was the Zelda skin of that kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But that one was all. That one was before. It was after Breath of the Wild, but before the Link's Awakening remake or whatever.
I think I remember it just because it was in a Direct.
It's been in a Direct, and there's also been people that we've watched that have played it. So
the first DLC pack came out the day of the Direct, and there's 3 total DLC packs. If you're curious about specifics, you can look them up, but 2 of them are $6, 1 of them is $10, and it's just add-ons, basically.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Next up was Rogue Company is out on the Switch. I don't know, it's some shooter, I think. Some shooter that's out on other platforms already.
I believe it's the one that is the team-based shooter from. Oh god, I don't remember the studio. I think it's like $30 though.
Yeah,
it's like, on Epic, and it's a team-based, maybe 4v4 shooter. So,
WWE 2K Battlegrounds, an arcade brawler, was shown off with a gameplay trailer, which featured some wrestlers. Pretty standard arcade brawler, looks like. Nothing special. Shin Megami Tensei 3 is getting an HD remaster, which is coming out in spring of 2021. And then Shin Megami Tensei 5 was announced and is expected in 2021. Surprisingly, these things are outside of my realm. Because I think these are based on, or they have some link to anime, but I don't know. Outside of my knowledge.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei, other than my knowledge of its existence, I have never dove too far into learning.
Yeah, and that was it. That was it from the little direct mini.
Leave it to us to have one of the things we've covered the least probably ever.
Yeah,
in terms of like actually getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally we do when we get a full direct or anything, we usually get in there pretty good, and I've gone through it and watched it and blah blah blah. But this one, it was just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I mean,
appreciate the news.
It's like it genuinely was this like tiny little like thing, and everything was pretty like straightforward. There wasn't anything really to talk about, so I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, it happened, and if you were looking for those things, boom, good news for you guys. Number 2. PlayStation Japan has advised customers to buy the digital version of Ghost of Tsushima due to the physical version selling out in stores. A tweet from the official PlayStation Japan account said that Sucker Punch Productions' exclusive title has exceeded Sony's expectations in terms of its popularity. Ghost of Tsushima has been very well received by the critics in Japan. Indeed, as Push Square reported, it is only the third game made by a Western studio to receive a perfect score from Famitsu. The from Famitsu, like, oh, man,
yeah,
got me.
That alliteration.
Also, Sony announced that Ghost of Tsushima sold 2.4 million copies in the first 3 days, making it the fastest-selling new IP for Sony this console generation. What does that mean? I hate these numbers.
I had to throw one in there.
I always hate it because we don't... What fastest-selling on what... Like, the fastest to 2.4 million, I assume is what they mean?
I don't know. I think it's the first 3 days thing. I think they have this weird indicator for first 3 days, or
it's
something.
It's either tell me the fastest to reach a number, or tell me what its like highest gross is, and rank it among your highest grossing. Because I think like Last of Us 2 was fourth in highest grossing titles currently for the PlayStation 4. So it's like that gives me a perspective on when you're comparing it sales wise. I know what the three are. Spider-Man, God of War, and I don't remember what the third one was that beat it.
Uncharted 4, probably.
Yeah, probably. Or maybe it was 3 and it was God of War and Spider-Man above it. But yeah,
what was I gonna say? Sony didn't say, but it's assumed that they beat out Horizon Zero Dawn. Because there's not a lot of there is new IP, but
right,
not a whole lot of new IP this console generation.
Yeah, that would be my guess, and it also would make sense. I think, just for I don't know that Horizon really got its love on launch more than it got it kind of down the road.
Yeah, it was something like it took them like weeks to get to 2.3 million. So
yeah, which both great games. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm surprised by the response with Ghost. it definitely is selling better, is been more well received and more talked about than I had expected it to be.
Yeah.
So
For what we all, I mean, you go back to the E3, right? That beautiful Sony E3 of here's a sweet looking field and some other stuff, and then there's the guy playing the flute, and everybody was just like, "But the flute, dude!" And there was no more like other than the art style discussion. It kind of went silent for a while, other than like that we knew it was coming, and then they had their they delayed a little bit and whatever, and then it dropped, and everybody's like, "All right, cool, I'm in, I'm down."
Fantastic.
It's been fun. I've been enjoying it.
I've been captivated by it. So
yeah, I mean, it's the joke is it has like the things I enjoy about Assassin's Creed, but without sailing, and I'm just like, yeah.
I really appreciate how quick you can play the game if you choose to. Like,
yeah.
You can consume stuff really quickly on it, other than like the awkwardly long like transitions that I think are there for loading reasons.
Probably. And I mean it is very much comparable to an Ubisoft title.
Oh yeah.
In terms of I'm going to run down this map and get distracted 10 times along the way from where I'm supposed to be going by shiny things.
Oh yeah. Literally shiny things like trees that have fireflies around them. You're like, that tree's important.
Yeah, or a yellow bird that flies out in front of me, and I'm like, "Show me your secrets, bird!" And then I follow him for 20 minutes only for him to be glitched and not tell me where I'm supposed to go. Or you see a fox, and you're like, "I gotta pet the fox."
Oh yeah,
I gotta get off this horse and pet that fox, and the fox runs away. And then fox shows you Fox Shrine, you're like, "Oh, good times." And you pet fox, fox jumps around all happy like it's like, "Oh, good times." I loved every second of this.
Exactly, that's exactly it.
I gotta pick up birds in a cage. I gotta learn my flute songs.
Yep.
That is not one of the songs. You don't learn the Snake Charmer song. I don't know why I did that.
That would be awesome. I still haven't gotten a new flute song. Really upset about that.
I haven't gotten one either, but I did play the flute the other day just for funsies after you told me how to do it. I was like, oh.
That's the one thing.
Spoiler alert, weather didn't change.
Can't those freaking crickets, man. I've noticed the weather won't change if you're doing a quest that demands certain conditions.
Oh, interesting.
So like we're getting totally off topic here, but I was doing a quest the other day or today that required it to be dark, I believe, like it'd be gloomy, and like I was like, I'm gonna pull the sun out, and I got my flute out, and the game was like,
I'm gonna pull the sun out. I control the powers of light. It is funny because you can just play it and like slowly walk through a village.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did it at the forge after I took it. I was like, I'm just going to play my flute now. And I just started walking around playing a flute. What am I doing?
Games. All right. Where were we? Number 3.
Do you have, not to get completely lost in this, I'm assuming we have the same conversation around the forge when you liberate it or whatever, and everybody's just screaming how they've never seen a samurai fight like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's.
And then I have so many questions about how they saw samurai fight beforehand.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm confused. That conversation that happened, I was just like, are there other ways to cut people with a sword? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
he fights like a demon. I've never seen anybody do that. I've never seen any samurai fight like that. I'm like, I was going to march with 6 of my men down onto a beach and murder everyone was my plan. And you've never seen me take on a small city? What? I'm so confused. I'm assuming it's because maybe all the civilians have only seen like the 1v1 standoffs.
Maybe, or they only ever see like the samurais outside of war where they're just like,
it's just the like I have to deal with this tiny little criminal. The comment that Yuna makes early on where they're like, you've never dealt with anybody that's been stronger than you are.
Yeah.
You've always dealt with like the weak and whatever. And then the mix of when you and what's his name are talking about the tournament. And they're like, okay, so that's probably the other spot you saw them fight, which is completely not a fight type of thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. Just a side note for
I'm sure we'll
Ghost.
get into Ghost conversation again later on.
We might not today. At least not that deep of one.
Yeah.
But when I get further into it, yeah, definitely we will. Today's gonna be the Last of Us conversation, probably.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
I know. I don't want to make you have it again, but
Number 3, Rocket League is going free to play later this summer, coinciding with the game's launch on the Epic Games Store. Rocket League's Epic Games Store launch will include cross-platform play with all versions, Steam, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. However, the game will no longer be redeemable on Steam to those who don't already own it, though existing users will still receive all support and updates going forward. Inevitable. Just like Thanos. I guess.
I am inevitable. Yeah, it's a thing. It is inevitable. I mean, we knew this was coming. But it's just the funny.
Oh, that was the thing.
It's funny that if you're going free to play, that you wouldn't just also still make it able to be got. But
yeah, it's
whatever.
Epic doing Epic.
Epic doing them money moves.
The other thing I forgot to put in here. This is the week that Mixer dies.
Yeah, it was supposed to have died.
Yep, PSA. So, yeah.
PSA, is it dead? Is it officially dead?
Oh, I don't know.
There was some joke going around. Can you just double check that it's dead? Mixer.com, and then just let me know.
Yep, it's dead. Thank you to our amazing community and partners. Mixer service has closed.
There was some joke going around during the the Xbox event that they were so busy with the Xbox event that they forgot to turn off the Mixer servers or something. So I don't know if it stayed up like a few hours longer than it was supposed to.
I really like that.
It's dead.
I really, really like that.
Somebody had a comment where they're like, yeah, Microsoft has everybody, I'm skipping ahead to the Microsoft story basically, but Microsoft has this giant event and they have all these they're pulling in the Twitch numbers and the YouTube numbers and whatever of like, hey, this is how many people you have watching it roughly, and all the stats that everybody loves to gush over when something like this happens. And they're like, and 0 viewers on Mixer. Rip.
Got him.
Number 4. During an earnings call this week, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said that Ubisoft will keep its same pricing strategy for its next generation games coming this fall. Video games released during the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 launch windows will remain $59.99, at least for now.
So I'm assuming this is a little bit of a PR move. I don't know how you feel about this.
Are we saying that it's a PR move because they see the backlash to it and they're like, whoa, don't worry. We're not going to do that yet.
Yeah, I see it as we don't want to attract any more attention than we already have.
I could see them also saying that, or doing it for 2 reasons, right? For the PR reason. Like, hey, you guys remember that we had a ton of giant problems where apparently one of the people that stepped down or was resigned or fired said that no women lead in video games, or that a woman lead in video games couldn't succeed. Don't know if you saw that article.
Yeah,
That's
there was
stupid.
Well,
that was bad.
There was a whole slew of Ubisoft. This is kind of for everyone listening as well. There's a whole slew of Ubisoft articles that are in news that is in that same vein. That was just, I didn't want to go through and accumulate it all and talk about it, because we would literally have a whole podcast about it.
Yeah, the whole thing would be based on talking about how shit certain Ubisoft execs or former execs were. And
yep, and a whole slew of people have stepped down this week as well, more. So
yep,
it's ongoing.
And if you are curious, they said it was something along the lines of no woman lead, a female lead would not succeed. and
which
then
is...
mixed with, which is demonstrably false.
Yeah.
But apparently the going into Origins, they wanted to have, oh god, I don't remember. Is it Arya? It's not Arya. The Bayek's wife was supposed to be the main character. After having watched, I think the idea was to have Bayek die and her take up the mantle, and you play as her through the whole thing.
That would have been interesting.
And then that person like shot that down.
I saw the one about Odyssey, and that one
then
really
there's the Odyssey one.
Because
then there's the Odyssey one where they said Cassandra, and then they said no, you need to have Alexios.
Yeah, which is frustrating because Cassandra was clearly the better,
right? Which I think is potentially twofold, depending on when they made that horrible call to force Alexios to exist. They might have already done everything with Cassandra and like perfected that. And then they're like, now shoehorn in Alexios, and they're like, what the fuck? And had to like go back and potentially do that. But either way, we both played as Cassandra. They're like,
yeah, and
she was clearly better the entire time, and it was just more entertaining.
And then there was the Syndicate one as well. Which,
Syndicate with Evie Fry.
They were supposed to be literally 50-50 as far as playtime.
And I don't believe they were.
Nope, not even close.
I played Syndicate, and I can tell you that. And I loved using Evie because Evie had the staff, and I love staff fighting in games because it's just so cool to me. But the Jacob thing was like, oh yeah, he gets in, fights with his knuckles and whatever. And I'm like, no, that's just so lame to me. I don't want to sit here and be a boxer in the middle of this. Give me the staff. It's way cooler. But I love that argument. I don't love the argument. I hate the idiots that make the females and female lead won't work. I can prove that wrong so fast it's not funny.
Yeah, it's such a pile of shit. Like that argument really irritates me.
Like, oh hey, here's our old guard of video games that need to get kicked the fuck out 10 years ago.
Some of the best games in the past 10 years have had
female leads. Yep.
What was I gonna say? Sheet. Yeah, I'm curious. So I'm really curious to see what those ramifications translate to in the future for games that we get. Like if we start to get some because I think if Ubisoft loses those shackles and they start doing a lot of these things that apparently they've been stopped from doing, you're going to get more interesting stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, if people had hampered them by their own thoughts or whatever, what do those look like if they're fully realized?
Yeah.
I mean, it would definitely be interesting. Hell, I would have taken a all female Breakpoint, even though Breakpoint Breakpoint, right? That was the new Tom Clancy after Wildlands, Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think that's right.
It's on sale right now for $20 if you're curious.
Really? Is it still broken?
At Uplay? Oh, probably.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
But they put in
the
AI patch. It is Breakpoint. Okay, cool. They put in that AI patch where now you have AI teammates.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's like $20 on Uplay right now because they're doing a summer sale. I would have taken an all-female lead there, a la the new Ghostbusters style. The new Ghostbusters I didn't like, but I think that was poorly written, not the problem with the females. But just do something different, man. Mix it up. Who gives a shit? I don't care. I want a good story. You want to know what I never thought playing Last of Us? Oh, I wish Ellie was a dude. No, never thought it once.
I really like one of the best. We're totally off topic, but it's fine. One of the best.
Shocker.
One of the best female leads as far as stories go, I think, was Aloy, because she was so sassy. It fits so well.
So it was the sass mixed with not knowing anything about herself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm still not convinced that the tree gave birth to her. That whole weird shit that happened. Yeah, I mean, Halo is like a perfect example of well, you haven't played Control, but I was gonna say Jesse from Control, right up there, also great, going on a mission to save her brother type of thing. It was all cool. I enjoyed every second of it. Once again, had no questions there the entire time. Wasn't like, oh, I'm not a dude. No, didn't give a shit. It was a fun game.
Yeah, Control's going to be. It's on my list to get to.
It's those. Like I said, the old guard that needed to get kicked out 10 years ago is now slowly getting weeded out today.
For sure. Speaking of old guard, Microsoft.
Welcome to November and your politics issue. Oh, sorry, you want to go to Microsoft. I thought you meant old guard there. My bad.
Yeah, we're not getting rid of any old guard in politics.
Don't start with me, Matt. Don't fucking start with me. I'm not having this conversation.
Microsoft. I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but I just figured I'd throw it in here. Microsoft is no longer offering an annual subscription to Xbox Live Gold. A statement from a Microsoft spokesperson said, quote, "At this time, Xbox has decided to remove the 12-month Xbox Live Gold SKU from the Microsoft Online Store. Customers can still sign up for a month or 3 months Xbox Live Gold subscription online through the Microsoft Store." End quote. With the addition of xCloud to Game Pass Ultimate, rumors are that Microsoft might be overhauling their multiplayer subscriptions for the next generation.
All right, so I'm just scrubbing through the next. Okay, so we don't talk about it in the next story. I'm gonna rant a little bit here, and I'm not gonna necessarily rant in the same way I normally do, because I know you're gonna agree with me for the majority of it.
Okay.
Game Pass Ultimate, whatever, doesn't matter which version we want to talk about. Can you pull up Game Pass Ultimate for me real quick?
Yeah.
It should be. I think it's like $1 to $15. One being like your introductory fee for like your first month usually, and then I think it goes to 15. But I just want to double check on my numbers. That it doesn't go to 20. I'm pretty sure it's 15.
You are correct. Yes, $1 for the first month, $15 per month, and that includes PC and console.
PC, console, Xbox Live, and xCloud when it shows up.
Yes.
If you just heard that and aren't jumping out of your chair, I don't understand what's wrong with you.
So, for example, one of the new releases this week, Carrion, or however you're supposed to say
Carrion.
That.
I say Carrion. If I say Carry On, I keep thinking of luggage.
Same. It's available on Game Pass right now.
Yeah, and there'll be another one that will be available on the 28th that I'll talk about in a little bit. But the kick is everything I'm about to talk about in the next story, for the most part, is available on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everything in their major title releases is available on Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything at the conference was Game Pass.
Right. There is no... It doesn't matter. Console wars are bullshit. This podcast stands on the idea that console wars themselves are inherently garbage and horseshit. They don't matter. They don't mean anything. The only time like when we've discussed winning and losing are in terms of console numbers sold, and that's it. And what I've been saying on this podcast for, I don't know, over a year, is when looking at the next generation, in air quotes, Microsoft has been setting up services to just not give a fuck about hardware and provide consumers with arguably the best experience for their money, period. The fact that everything I'm about to talk about and all the things that already exist that are in Game Pass for at most $15 a month, and that includes your PC and your Xbox, is insane. Is inherently insane. That we've both done Game Pass things. That includes Forza, Halo, the other new game, Gears, Master Chief Collection, and new Halo, both of those. Descenders, Carrion, State of Decays, Ori, Outer Worlds, I think, was on there. A bunch of other games are going to be showing up. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is in there. You know, there's so many games, and that's just the big titles. I don't even know how big Xbox's Game Pass library is, other than I know that it's massive.
Yeah, their verbiage just says has over 100 games on it.
Right, and I know they rotate some and they add more and stuff like that.
So,
but if you're somebody that can't, in your financial situation, can't afford, say, more than 2 games a year, or something like, something around those lines, 2-3 games a year, something like that. Let's say it's 3 games a year. Can you just do me some quick math? What's Game Pass for a year? Game Pass Ultimate for a year?
$15 by...
Do they have a deal if you buy for 12 months, or do they not do that?
That's a good question. I don't think they do, but...
I don't remember if they did or not.
I can look it up. But it's be $180 if you paid per month.
All right, so if we say it's $180, if you paid per month, it's $180, and that's 3 games at our current $60 selling price of a AAA full-fledged title. How do you not understand how great that deal is, literally just weighing those 2 fractions? 3 games for $180, entire catalog of games for $180, including the latest and greatest from Xbox and some other studios. What? I don't understand how people aren't so excited about that. Mm-hmm. Everybody screams pro-consumer. That's the most pro-consumer bullshit I've seen in a money-hungry, like, not hobby, but money-hungry, not entertainment. What is the word I'm looking for? It's not division. The industry. Industry is the word I'm looking for. In a money-hungry industry, that is the most pro-consumer shit I've ever seen. And it's not close.
If you want to get real crazy, you can watch for deals on the subscription cards themselves when they go on sale, and that would be how you'd get it cheaper. But they don't give you a deal for buying it a year in advance. It's still $15 a month, no matter what.
Yeah, but even if you find a way to, we're talking the cards from like retail stores, right?
Yeah, so like if you buy a 3-month card or whatever, sometimes like Amazon runs sales on them,
Amazon will run sales on them. Sometimes other places will do like buy one get half off on prepaid cards. Sometimes those are included, like, or even $5 off, which it's $5. But if you're in a pinch for deals, boom, there it is. It's still so good. I don't understand why it's not getting talked about more. When I get to the next story, a lot of it is just people pissing and moaning over nothing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, I did see a random number today when I was looking through games where Microsoft said they have over 10 million Game Pass subscribers, which is not that's a big number. It's not a number to scoff at.
That's like the number of people on World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Which, spoiler, massive.
There's probably a lot of crossover with those two as well.
Yeah. And also, spoiler, for anybody that's curious, guess what the cost of WoW is per month if you pay on a month-by-month basis? $15. And that's one game.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I can keep throwing shit into perspective all day. Star Wars, $30 for 2 months. Guess what that breaks down to? You guessed it, $15 a month. Guess what that is? One fucking game.
Yeah.
EA Access. At the top end, the premier tier, which I think is also $15, is access to EA's titles. And then that stops there. That sentence doesn't continue. It's EA's titles. So sure, you got your Maddens, your Need for Speeds, your FIFAs, your whatever else comes out, your all the other stuff. Which, hey, that's a good deal. Because the same thing, you break that down cost-wise. If you're just going to go buy the latest Madden, the latest FIFA, the whatever, just buy the premier EA Access, Premier EA Access gets you the legendary version of those games, which I think are $80. So you're already saving money because 2 of those is $160. I can do math, I swear. At $160, and then you have those 2 in the subscription forever, and you're going to tell me you're not going to play other EA titles? I doubt that, even though we all want not to, but I doubt it. Ubisoft has theirs on the way. So you want to play the new Watch Dogs, new Ghost Recon, new Rainbow Six Siege, new roller derby arena, whenever Skull and Bones doesn't exist, the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like, people not talking more about these subscription services is actually semi-painful to me.
It is, because like then you can abuse. I don't want to say abuse. You can use them as intended too. You buy a month, you play.
Buy a month, play as much as you can,
and then if you've spent $15 compared to $60.
Yeah, or pay for the $1 and save $59. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's what we've done when we played Forza.
Mm-hmm. Forza, we did with EA Access too. When we didn't buy Anthem.
Yeah, that's true. No, I didn't buy Anthem. I did that with EA Access.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for FIFA. I did that for Madden, all with EA Access. I did it for Battlefield. I didn't buy Battlefield. That was EA Access.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Star Wars through there. Yeah, Apex is free. Doesn't matter. Need for Speed Heat. That was through EA Access. I didn't buy that.
Yep, another one.
Yep. Forza. I played Forza, Slay the Spire, Sea of Thieves, and something else, all on Game Pass in 2 months. That was $30 for $90 in games, if not more. So I don't get how people aren't about that. I'm so confused by some people that start complaining about one thing when I go, you don't have to pay $60. Stop it. You just don't have to. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my thing. I almost need social media person. I almost want a tweet every single week proclaiming excellence of Game Pass for the next year. Just set a reminder, tweet it once a week for the next year, 52 weeks.
Well, you could just implement it into the new release thing where it's like, oh, new releases this week. Also, these games that I just talked about are available on Game Pass.
Yeah, screw it. I'll add into the new releases of these things got added to Game Pass, including the other hundreds of titles that you could go play. It's the best deal in. You guys remember Movie Pass and how shit that was as a thought process?
Well, it's great to start off.
Here's the thing. It was great to start off. You want to know what they didn't have? They were a third-party service trying to semi-circumvent the system.
Yeah.
You want to know what Microsoft isn't? A third-party fucking service. They are one of the top 3 players in this damn arena and went, we don't care. Watch this. We'll just revolutionize the way we do this. Screw all of you. We're going to make everybody be able to play games. And the best games. There you are.
Bold statement.
Best being subjective to whoever you are. I know. I don't need the feedback. Subjective to whoever you are. I'm aware. But still, it's nuts. Nuts to me.
All right, well, let's talk about some more Microsoft stuff.
Now that Nate's been talking, let's make him talk some more. Here we go. Number 6. Microsoft held their Xbox Games Showcase this past Thursday. They announced games during the pre-show as well, so we'll cover those real quick. Dragon Quest XI. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Okay, Dragon Quest XI
that's the last word.
Echoes of an Elusive Age is out now. I assume that's just supposed to be now.
Could be. I don't know. Don't know why that's
All right,
there.
so it's out at some point. Might be now. Matt writes horrible documents for me to read. I thought you had updated on your end, and I was just like, great, I'm screwed. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Hey, but more Dragon Quest for people that love Dragon Quest. Echo Generation, a turn-based adventure game about a gang of kids investigating supernatural occurrences in their small town. Interesting. I wonder if I've seen. There's a game that sounds similar to that. I wonder if it's the same game. But yeah, I mean, fun multiplayer idea. You're snooping around trying to figure out supernatural things, get spooks, get jumped from behind, shake, make you scared.
Okay. Sorry, I was reading something. December 4th.
I know.
December 4th. It's not out now. It's December 4th for
Dragon Quest 11S is out. Dragon Quest 11S Echoes of an Elusive Age is out December 4th.
Yeah.
All right. You're welcome.
Not that was
now
really
that I have
important.
Now that I have Matt's attention, I'll continue. Hello, Neighbor 2. You're being stalked by a mysterious creature as you try to track down Mr. Peterson, the neighbor, who has disappeared after the events of the first game. So quick. I mean, they've made, 3 headlines or 3 stories from us in the last 3 weeks?
Hello, Neighbor, yeah.
Or at least that studio, and then more stuff, and then we got this game, which the trailer looks very interesting.
I didn't watch any of the trailers for these ones.
The trailer of this one looks almost looks like you're, that the person that the mysterious creature is. You remember Spy vs. Spy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It reminds me of one of those guys.
Okay.
Like
a Slenderman-esque thing?
Well, I mean, he's just wearing like a black suit with a hood. Or like, not a black suit, but like he's all black clothes with like a black hoodie on over his head. But then he has that long beak that makes it look like the bird type of thing.
Okay.
Not a plague doctor mask, but more, I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, that Spy vs. Spy.
Okay.
But they actually have like, I don't know if it's in the current game, but they have you being able to vault through windows and stuff now, so you're not just doing the weird kind of jumping stuff. They actually added, it seems like, better traversal things and stuff like that.
Cool.
Hey, I'm down for more of it. Exo Mecha, a free-to-play online competitive first-person shooter. I assume there are mechs.
Yeah, I guess there's supposed to be like mechs and power-ups and all sorts of weirdness.
It's Matt's alley. Give him some mechs.
I don't know.
All right, never mind. Not Matt's
alley. It's competitive shooter. That's,
that's true.
Ugh.
They had us in the first half and then ripped it out from underneath them.
Exactly.
Balan Underworld, an action-adventure game themed towards a musical theater. Was interesting.
Yeah,
it was very bright.
I just saw like a thumbnail on that one, and I was like, okay, that's whack.
Yeah, so you can go check those out. And now, I almost want to do this event in reverse, but I'm not going to.
I mean, you can do whatever. Well, see, here's the thing. I was laughing about. I was so thrilled when they led with Halo because I was like, oh, they're going to lead with Halo. And you were like, no, they're going to close with Halo. And I was like, that's right, motherfucker. They led with Halo.
Yeah. So, here's my thing. They still shouldn't have led with Halo. I stand by that statement.
It's great because they literally did the exact opposite of what you said.
Right. I literally said flip them. Open with Fable and then close with Halo. Because the moment Halo happened, the rest of my Twitter feed and like people retweeting and everything was discussing that.
Yeah.
So many other things were buried except for like 2 or 3 that made it out. I was like, what? So yeah, they defied me. They purposely defied me.
Well, I thought it was a good move based on. So are we talking about Halo now? I guess I should say.
I was gonna get there. Yeah. So yes, the first game that was shown when we hit the main event was Halo Infinite from 343 Industries, to be released holiday of this year for the Series X, Xbox One, and PC.
I thought overall the gameplay was very like, I say underwhelming, which that kind of makes it sound like I didn't like it, and it's not that I didn't like it. It just wasn't, it didn't blow you away.
Yeah, no, there was nothing that was exciting in the gameplay sense.
Yeah,
which seemed a throwback kind of to Combat Evolved.
Yeah.
which it's not a bad thing at all. It's just one of those where it's more Halo.
Yeah. And then everyone's freaking out about the open world part, which
I'm okay with it.
I'm kind of, I don't know. I thought we knew that it was going to be open world already.
I think I don't know if we knew it, but you and I definitely would have assumed.
Okay. Because like everyone was making a big deal out of that, and I was like, oh, we knew that already. Like, is this new?
Yeah. There's a lot of times where you and I get super assumptions, and we just go, that's how it's going to be. And then I watch reactions, and I go, oh, yeah, they don't know. And then I realized that it was also never said. But just in my head, I was like, oh, yeah, that's clearly what's going to happen.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the open world thing is going to be cool. I guess I shouldn't assume that it's going to be cool because we don't know what that really means. But I don't know.
I'm wondering how open world it is.
Yeah,
because even what they show in that little this little 8-minute window, what they show is you crashing, getting out of the probably a Pelican, getting out of that, and apparently there's a Warthog already there, completely just waiting for you. That's weird, but I'm not here to think about the logistics of that existing.
I'm glad you pointed that out because there was a point where when they were going through the little Covenant base and he picked up like a clearly human shotgun.
Yeah,
and I was like, why was that there? Leaned up against the wall.
Yeah, they're like they literally crash after getting shot out of the sky, and there's just a perfectly good Warthog just sitting there, and I'm like, wait, hold on, that's not how that would be there. But the idea of the open world and actually allowing you to use those vehicles for travel in the universe and stuff, other than just like, I specifically recall back to the end of the Halo 3 mission, the final mission in Halo 3, where you're just driving on that line to, you avoid the falling tiles or whatever, but it's not, you're never using them to adventure anywhere. You're using them to go on a essentially straight line race wherever you're going.
Yeah.
So the idea that you get to actually use them to traverse a world is pretty cool. But what I was getting at is, so you land, come out, they show you the map, and it looks as though it's a pseudo open world, kind of. Like they zoom out and they show you, or they kind of zoom out, they show you that there's a bigger map there. But what you're currently doing is having to destroy those 3 turrets. And so I don't know if it's you land, have that open world sandbox where those 3 turrets are all accessible from that one area. And then you have to like go back to the ship to go to another open world area, which is what I mean by pseudo open world. Like your mission is not linear, but you're still segmented from just driving wherever you want, potentially.
Yeah, I also got that same feeling based on how the map looked. Like the map looked like there was like clearly defined borders in sections.
Right, almost as if you'd have to like fast travel to a landing point for those sections to go back to them, type of thing. Yeah.
Which, my question is, how are they going to use that type of like? Is it going to be? Are they going to try to mimic open world and have like multiple quests or multiple objectives that you need to accomplish, and you can just do them in any order, or like you stumble across them, or like if it's just going to be traditional Halo and linear, and you just happen to have an open world, like.
My guess would, I don't want to keep using pseudo, but pseudo linear would be what I would say, where they give you a clearly defined end goal, but the way you have to achieve objectives is not defined. Yeah. Where, specifically using the 8-minute slice we saw, destroy 3 turrets. Just whatever, however you want to do it, go for it, man. See you later. See you later, bye. We're not going to tell you anything else about it. Just, there they are. Good luck, Chief. See you later. Come back whenever you're done.
Yeah,
they just kind of let you go. And that's how they kind of do it. I can't imagine them putting quest givers in the world. That just seems so not Halo.
Yeah, for sure.
And as much as they don't want to be compared to Destiny, I can 100% see public events happening.
That kind of leads into what my concerns are, is later on them saying that there's not going to be Halo Infinite 2, and that this game is going to... Do you remember what they said exactly? It's like a...
This is going to be the last standalone Halo game for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. And they kind of threw...
Updates and stuff would take place under the Infinite umbrella.
Yes.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. Which, that's my question, is what does that mean? And is this converging with Destiny in a certain way? Like, is it going to end up looking like Destiny, or is it going to have public events? Is it going to get like content updates and content movement and stuff? Like,
and even that, I don't necessarily mean public events in the same way that Destiny carries them out. I just mean public events in terms of like, as you might be going through your open world, there might be a Covenant dropship.
Yeah.
That you have the option of dealing with that are right then and there type of thing. Yeah. Or you could just ignore it and keep going.
I just have so many questions regarding that whole idea. But
then the giant conversation around the game was visually, some people weren't happy, other people were. I initially wasn't a huge fan of what I saw visually, but the problem with watching everything on these streams is you can't ever take your first reaction from the stream and use that.
Yeah,
so I went back and watched the 2K VOD video of the trailer to judge, and it looks nice there, but it's almost like a less is more type of thing, where they didn't do these crazy graphical fidelity things, and what people keep screaming is hyper realism, which whatever, I'm over it. But could it be better? Sure. Is it terrible? No. My thoughts.
Initially, when we first saw the screenshots of it, before, I was really not a fan, because it's like Halo stylized.
It's Halo stylized, but at a almost lesser level.
Yeah, it's like
on those screenshots.
It's like a bland. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like it's stylized, but it's not stylized, but it's not like clearly not hyper real either.
Yeah, well, it's not hyper real. It's closer to stylized, and when you say bland, I think what we both agree is a lacking of textures.
Yeah, it's like
and like semi-imagination. Like, you look at some of the brutes from Halo 3 in 2007, and you look at the brutes they show in that opening sequence when you're right before you even go into the base, when you're shooting outside with like the grunts and stuff, and you're just like, why does it not look as pretty?
After watching the gameplay and everything, I'm more on board with it now. I think it'll age better. Like, if they're going to create, it seems like they're trying to create a platform to build on to. I think this semi-stylized approach will age better than trying to go hyper-real, which is basically the direction they were going before with the games, was they kept trying to make them more detailed and more real-looking.
Yeah, they kept getting closer and closer to Call of Duty.
Exactly.
And if this is the style they're going for, as long as their gameplay and story back it up, I don't care.
Yeah.
That the story has been a giant problem with me after 3. For, people weren't fans of Reach for, I think, gameplay reasons and multiplayer things, but I didn't hate the Reach campaign. I enjoyed the Reach campaign. And obviously ODST is always thrown in there, but ODST is technically before whatever that part, that timeline scenario. But after that, I don't care. Halo 4 doesn't do anything for it. Like I've been screaming for them to kill Chief since the beginning, before Halo 4. Just because I thought it would be insane for them to do, but it would also be a easy point to then reset from. Of just that version of Chief is dead. Whatever that means for the consequences of the world, kill him. But that's a different, that's a whole other thing. Whatever is currently going on with this ring and the finding of Chief and bringing him back and stuff like that, as long as this all matches up and everything, and the one thing I'm saying is, I'm not hugely on the stylized part, but it's not that bad. As long as that's my complaint, I don't care. If my complaint is, oh god, I mean, they made these weird turns with the story and it just doesn't make sense, and like the gameplay feels clunky and it looks like shit, like then I have a problem, because then it's not just that one thing, it's everything is bad.
Yeah.
But hey, remember Game Pass? Remember how you don't have to pay $60 damn to even try this? Even if you don't necessarily like it, it's not your cup of tea. You don't even have to pay $60 to try it. I don't get how people even want to complain. Like, I will complain or I will judge it from I want to see Halo succeed again and go back to like what we knew 1, 2, 3 ODST Reach, like that cluster of games where it was like, holy shit, these are a ton of fun. Let's log on and just play Halo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for that. But what I'm not going to do is complain that I only am paying $15 to play it. It seems asinine to me.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm hopeful of Halo Infinite. I'm just gonna put it there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm hopeful as well. And I do think, not that Xbox will say it, I do think part of the problem is that they also developed it for Xbox One.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I
think Xbox One held it back from what they potentially could have made that game look like and adapt to. And I understand they're, allowing it to be on Xbox One and have everything be good for everybody. But I sometimes with stuff like this, I wish they just bit the bullet and committed to doing the best they could, best foot forward, Series X, let's go. Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, that's their choice, what they want to do. And then I will touch back. Can you write a note to yourself right before 7 to just put like Nate hardware thoughts or something?
Okay.
I don't want to tangent into it now before I get all the software done, but I want to tangent into it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I won't see the update, but I need you to remind me. The next game that came out, or that was shown, was State of Decay 3 from Undead Labs, coming to the Series X and PC. Completely forgot about State of Decay when we were discussing games before, of like things we might see. But the moment I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah, that 100% makes sense that there's a State of Decay 3 for Series X." Yeah,
that makes sense. Didn't really see much other than
it looked good. The trailer, the trailer they showed, it was a lot of this event was a lot of CGI.
It was, which I don't know if you noticed. They were a bit more obvious at the bottom.
They were much more clear this time, and they also hadn't walked into this event screaming gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
And the one game we did see gameplay of, Halo, we saw gameplay of.
Yeah.
So yeah, more State of Decay.
More State of Decay.
So there you go.
Yeah, whatever. It always sells well.
Yeah,
people seem to like it.
Yeah, I know a few people that are big fans of it, and I still see some people online every now and then playing it. So playing the second one. Then we get to Forza Motorsport from Turn 10, coming to the Series X and PC. Still early in development, going to be 4K with 60 frames and have ray tracing. And Forza Horizon 4 is getting optimized for Series X and will be available with smart delivery. Thoughts, Matthew?
It looked amazing. Like,
it was all
quite
shot
ridiculous.
in engine. Yeah, it was all shot in engine. No gameplay, unfortunately. But it looked silly good.
The first shot they did when they went into Forza was the Mazda. It was like a Mazda race car. And I thought it was real. I thought they were showing us like B-roll of them.
When they're doing that's the like photo shoot room, right?
Yeah. The first shot you see is just of the car, and I was like, "Oh, we're seeing like a Dev Diary type B-roll shot."
Yeah, it's either that or we're getting the normal Forza thing where they bring out a new car on stage every time.
Yeah, and then like they went to another. Then they started showing more of like they showed the engine bay and they showed like the engineers and stuff moving around. And I was like, "Oh, like this is."
Yeah.
This is in engine. Like, I was like, oh.
And then racetracks and tight shots there and everything.
Yeah, it looks spectacular.
I'm excited for what it means, like what it can be.
Yeah, that's one of the...
You're telling me I'm going to get Gran Turismo and a Forza Motorsport game that both look as good as they do?
Yeah,
awesome.
That's one of the things I'm really... Because we're like, you know, racing games not super popular right now. Making a little bit of a comeback, but, you know.
No, I mean the Horizon style is your most popular.
Yeah. That's one of the series, like, or one of the genres I could see taking advantage of a lot of the new tech that's been coming out. Like the ray tracing, for example, would be insane.
Not to loop racing into this entire part of the discussion. I think sports games as a whole is that genre.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That can excel at abusing the technology that is ray tracing and of both audio and lights and everything like that.
Yeah, like weather systems using ray tracing with weather, water movement, like
oh my god, you imagine water movement in Forza?
Yeah, like wind
stuff in when you're in the like when you do the can't think of the name of the camera. I want to say cab, but I don't know if it's not what
like
I mean.
the in-cockpit camera type.
Yeah.
Like
when you're in basically the first person cam and you see your windshield, and that when it starts raining and you got wipers going on and stuff. What was it? It was it wasn't Drive Club, but we've had that happen in games before where it's happened to me. I think in Project Cars, but it's
Drive
awesome
Club was one of the ones that did the crazy weather.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's awesome for the going back to the hyperrealism thing when you actually are getting downpoured on and your blades are going and the water's all behaving exactly the way it should with blades and everything, and it's so awesome to see when that actually happens.
Yeah, so we won't see this game for a while. That's the only sad part of it. And the Horizon 4 being optimized for Series X kind of puts that final nail in the coffin on that
my
one.
guess is you get Motorsport next year.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like,
I would assume you get the Horizon.
Year, but
I'm guessing you get the Horizon refresh to hold it over for a year because normally they just alternate years. So I'm guessing you get the Horizon refresh, postponed for a year, and then Motorsport drops next year. Is my assumption, but hey, we'll see.
We will see.
I would love to see it this year, but hey, I'm not insane. if that dropped as like a launch title and already looked that good in engine,
that would be insane. There's like,
Yep. Be like, oh, okay, cool. That's how we're starting this thing. All right. Game Pass, $15. $15 for that amazing looking game. Oh, and Halo. Shut up. It's so good. So good. Everwild from Rare was the next game that we saw, coming to Series X and PC. Inspired by the beauty of the natural world around us, Everwild is a brand new game in development from Rare where unique and unforgettable experiences await in a natural and magical world. Play as an Eternal as you explore and build bonds with the world around you. It's kind of cute looking.
Yeah. Yeah, seemed fine.
The big Avatar Airbender Appa guy ripping down a tree.
Yep, that was
Right,
cool.
that was this game.
Yeah, they saved a cute little Bambi-esque thing at the
Well,
end.
yes, because his mother was dead.
Yeah.
They just didn't show you that part, but a hunter clearly killed its mom.
Yeah. That was the only thing about the game that was like, I was like, okay, what is the game? Was that like there was no conflict? You know, there was like no.
Well, not even when there's no conflict. I'm still just like, okay, so are we just going around telling a story? Like, are we doing anything other than just kind of doing this thing and hanging out? Like, why did I help him, or why did I have him take down that tree?
Yeah, that's exactly like. There's no. It didn't tell you what you were supposed to do in the game. So.
Yeah, was I taking it to build a house? Was I gonna have him use it as a weapon? I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. Then we got Tell Me Why from Don't Nod, Chapter 1, coming August 27th to Xbox One and PC, in which you play as twins Tyler and Allison Ronan, exploring the memories of their joyful but troubled childhood in a beautiful small town Alaska. Using the supernatural bond that allows the twins to interact with memories of the past, you get to choose memory paths to determine the outcome and uncover their personal story across 3 chapters. This was the game that I'm forgetting. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the worst looking game of all of them, which was still didn't look terrible.
Oh,
it looked like Life is Strange.
Yeah, it's technically it's like the worst in our eyes, but that's the style of Life is Strange. Like,
yeah,
it was more of that same style, but we're just not huge fans of that style.
Yeah.
It looks like this. I mean, at least the story they show in the trailer was your mom tried to kill your brother, and then your brother somehow killed your mother in an act of self-defense, I guess.
Yeah.
And the story of then they meet together after the brother gets out of jail, or at least the trailers beats like the 4 defining moments you kind of see. So I'm sure when it says you can choose things to see how that story goes out or whatever, maybe it wasn't an active defense.
Maybe
he was the one with the gun all along.
We'll never know.
Somebody will know.
I'm just saying I'll never know.
We won't.
I should say I'll never know.
No, I won't know either. I haven't played a Life is Strange ever. Maybe Dewey will know.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Maybe.
But maybe we'll use him. Then we got to Ori and the Will of the Wisps from Moon Studios, coming holiday 2020 to Series X, Xbox One, and PC. Obviously, we know that Will of the Wisps is already out.
Yep. It's a thing.
But it is now getting optimized for Series X with 4K HDR and 120 frames per second.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, actually. Curious, when that happens, what the reception will be of the whole 4K HDR 120 frames. I have a theory. Well, not really a theory. I have a small prediction. PC gamers for a while have been beating the drum of, FPS is more important than resolution to a certain degree.
Well, okay, yeah. I'll allow the discussion. Continue.
I'm curious if you'll see console players, like console-only players, start to get on that bandwagon. Because there seems to be a big push to hit 60 frames per second on things in some games like Ori, 120 frames. So,
my argument always, or at least where I fall on the side of that fence, is it depends on the game. Shooters, I don't need a high resolution, but I need a high frame rate. For slow games where I'm not, Twitch reaction things, I want high resolution, and I can take a lower frame rate for a higher resolution in, more art style-y games type of thing. Like Last of Us, I could take it 4K 30. That's fine. I don't need it at 120.
Mm-hmm.
But Call of Duty, I would prefer it 120 at 1080 if it meant that I could get it that quickness.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I don't want to have this argument.
I mean, it's not really an argument.
Yeah, it's like a preference type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious to see how that happens though, because for a long time, I mean, the current crop of consoles are by no means junk, but
right,
they are largely incapable of hitting like what PC gamers would consider bare minimum for frame rate consistency. So I'm curious to see the opinions of console only players when they start to, if we see these, I should say that part too, if we do see these milestones, performance milestones being hit.
Yeah, it definitely is an interesting it's something we've alluded to in the past too, of discussing like what is the console specific player, the ones that don't play on PC either, but the console only section of the Venn diagram, when PC settings start getting put in their games, what happens?
Yeah,
like if say you start getting the slider so you can change what frame rate and resolution you're running your game at, what happens? Who knows? It's interesting.
Who knows?
Then we move on to The Outer Worlds Peril on Gorgon from Obsidian, September 9th, coming to Xbox One and PC. A brand new noir-tinged adventure that takes players to the Gorgon asteroid to investigate the mysterious origin of Adrena Time.
I appreciated the trailer for this one. I like the the old radio show style.
Old radio, almost tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it was playing, I was like, wait, that's The Outer World. Oh, it's DLC. I was like, what? I had to like take a step back for a second because I was like, well, that just looks like The Outer World. Why was that? Oh, it's just more of it. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, this is the beginning of Obsidian's little mini showcase.
Before I even continue into the Obsidian mini showcase that happened in the middle of an Xbox event, it's funny when, we talked about it not on here, but you're like, oh, New Vegas. All right, cool. Oh, all right, they're going to make a Fallout-esque style game in Outer Worlds. Oh, Microsoft is going to give them a bunch of money. Oh, they're going to fucking just go bananas. The last 2 years, they've just gone insane.
Yeah, insane.
And it's only gonna get worse with the more that I read. But it's almost like they specifically went for Bethesda's throat.
Yeah, Bethesda, and I mean they could very well, depending on what becomes of the last game you're going to mention from them, they could kind of take BioWare's place as far as, quality storytelling RPGs.
I think BioWare's lost it before Bethesda has at the moment. I think BioWare's almost already 2 feet in the grave.
Yeah, I mean,
Bethesda's hole is dug. They just need to get pushed in.
That's what I'm saying, though, is like the lapse, there's kind of like there's a hole. There's clearly a gap. There's a power vacuum.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, yeah, the BioWare's got some problems. But yeah. I don't need to. I was going to keep going down my graveyard story about how like BioWare's already laying in the ground. Somebody just needs to put the dirt on them, and Bethesda's standing over a different hole, just push me in, guys. Go for it. So we'll see. Maybe they make it out. But Grounded from Obsidian Entertainment was the next game, coming July 28th to early access on Xbox One and PC. Combining the elements from the RPG world with the best elements of survival games, you and up to 3 other players explore the backyard from the perspective of an ant to piece together how to return back to normal size, a la Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Along the way, you'll run into both peaceful and very, very hostile insects, all fighting to survive right behind the house. Gather, craft, and build bases with everyday objects you find in the yard, or just feed your friends to the spiders. Also, if you are looking for the biggest game this year, play Cyberpunk.
Yeah, they did a good job with their game trailers, for sure.
The trailer for this one looked like a lot of fun.
It did. It looked really cool. I kind of want to check this out. I'm curious. I was trying to find an answer to this, but I can't get a specific answer. Clearly, it's coming to Game Pass. I'm curious if it'll be on Game Pass on the 28th in its early access form.
I believe it is supposed to be, yes.
Okay. Because obviously it's early access. It's on Steam, so that's interesting.
It's supposed to be at least an Xbox game preview, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be in Game Pass.
Okay.
And then the final game from Obsidian Entertainment. Avowed. For Series X and PC. A first-person RPG set in the fantasy world of Aora.
It's a neat little teaser.
Y'all like Skyrim?
Yeah. You guys like Elder Scrolls? Do you want another Elder Scrolls?
What if we made a better one?
Smart move for them, though, because like Bethesda's clearly not going to be able to get an Elder Scrolls game out before this comes out. And people want an Elder Scrolls game, like, really badly.
Yeah, because of how long the Skyrim's come to... the Skyrim. Elder Scrolls Skyrim came to everything, including my Samsung fridge, so... Yeah. I would have taken a new one before I was able to play it on a fridge.
Exactly. And Obsidian's going to drop this, and theoretically, it'll be good.
In theory, it'll be the beginning of the grave.
Yeah.
For Bethesda. But it's
and then by the time this comes out, Obsidian will have already announced like 6 more games. So
yeah, they'll be like, "Hey, have you guys ever heard of Doom? We made one called Mood." It's like, "Oh, all right." But yeah, Obsidian had a strong showing, and I'm intrigued to see where all of it goes. And Game Pass is $15. Have I not gotten that through your thick skulls yet? Damn, it's a good deal.
I'm kind of happy for Obsidian because I didn't expect
any of this.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to go ham. So
I was like, okay, we might not even thinking about it. I was like, all right, we'll get Outer Worlds DLC, cool. Maybe we'll get like another small side project or a tease of what Outer Worlds 2 might look like, or whatever they want to call it, the Outer Worlds. I don't know how they're gonna. More Outer Worlds, further Outer Worlds. I don't know.
Inner Worlds.
Yeah, inner. One Planet that's just the name of the game. How those would be, and then they're like, "Oh, what if we have all these other things?" I'm like, "Oh, you guys have been doing things. You guys have been working." Then we go to As Dusk Falls from Interior Night for Series X, Xbox One, and PC. A multi-generational story set in the American Southwest about resilience, sacrifice, and how the mistakes of the older generation transmit to the younger. What begins as a focused tale of 2 families trapped in a hostage situation becomes a sprawling epic about how people grow and change over decades. Did I miss this game?
You probably didn't. I just remember when I was watching the game, I was like, what is this? And then when I read the description later on, I was like, oh, it makes sense now. It was the game that they were focusing more on the developer and the studio more than the game itself.
Ah, okay.
That was the one with the lady. I can't remember her name, but she was like talking, and they were talking about like it was the stylized one. It was the one where they were like clearly
the one
like filming people and then putting them in engine.
Yes, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey man, Get your story-based games right here.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, they basically cover the gamut of all types of games in this press conference.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know how you look at this and say there wasn't something that was for me.
Yeah. And they still have more.
No matter where
studios.
you stand.
And they still have more stuff. They're like, yeah, we got more.
The best part was they're like, hey, we did that first event, it didn't go so well. We'll do this event. It goes much better. Much, like a few 100% better. This event was than the previous one. And like, oh yeah, we got more we have to do, so don't worry about this. Like, we'll just show you some. We'll see you in August probably to give you more. Then we moved on to Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 from Ninja Theory, coming to Series X and PC. No new trailer for Hellblade, but just a developer update. Ninja Theory said it'll take place in 9th century Iceland, and players will travel, quote, hundreds of miles seamlessly across Iceland, end quote.
I thought it was kind of weird.
It was definitely not what I was expecting from them.
Yeah.
I was expecting a second trailer or something more.
Yeah, this kind of made it seem like I thought they were further along with the game.
Yeah, this seems like it's a next year at the soonest title.
Yeah. I know they're working.
It's either like next year or it's the fourth quarter. Will be out in February and then delayed out of it.
Yeah, I know they're working on other stuff as well, but I just kind of assumed it'd be further along. Like I was thinking we'd see like trailer, at least possibly gameplay, and
yeah.
Then they were just like, yeah, principal photography, basically, like scouting, blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
Those are the things you put in the documentary after the game comes out.
Yeah, they're doing. If you're curious, they do dev updates. They call them like Dreadnought Diaries, I think is what they call them.
All right.
On their YouTube channel. If you want to follow along in their development.
Interesting. Then we move on to the game everybody's been waiting for, Psychonauts 2 from Double Fine, coming in 2021 to Series X ?
Yes.
Xbox One and PC.
There was a little confusion. Microsoft's not consistent with their messaging as far as what this game's coming to and what it's for. So, anyways.
Great.
Yeah.
Why be clear?
Yeah.
Let's make it harder.
Because they say it's coming out to Xbox One and PC, but then at some point in the description it says they're optimizing it it's optimized. It will be optimized for Series X, and I was like, so what are we doing here, guys? Like,
so probably it'll release for those ones with smart delivery to X, I assume. But...
That's what I'm assuming, but it's not like.
But why not just say it?
Yeah, it doesn't have the same messaging that all the other games have gotten on as far as that Series X stuff and smart delivery. So,
of course not. But freshly minted special agent and acrobat extraordinaire Rasputin Raz Aquato returns to unpack emotional baggage and expand mental horizons. Along the way, he'll help new friends like this magical mote of light, voiced and sung by Jack Black. Raz must use his powers to unravel dark mysteries about the Psychonauts team and his own family origins.
Cool.
I thought the Jack Black thing was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm always down with Jack Black in a video game.
Yeah, and for anybody that doesn't know history of like Jack Black with, I think specifically like Tim Schafer and Double Fine, because they made Brutal Legend, didn't they?
I believe they did, yeah.
Yeah. And when I saw him, I was like, oh my god, there's no way they make a Brutal Legend 2. There is absolutely no way they're doing that. And then they do the Psychonauts 2 thing, and I was like, okay, all right, yeah, that's cool.
That was my first thought as well, was the Brutal Legends 2. I was like, oh, okay, Brutal Legends 2,
and then he killed the song.
He did. It was great. I liked it.
Everything fit right in. It was... With going from this one and then going back to Ori real quick, It was very well shot of the game interlaced with him doing the song recording. I thought having like some of the side by sides and the jump between them were pretty well shot for their little trailer they were doing.
Yeah, they totally redeemed themselves on production quality.
Oh, 100%. But I mean, like specifically for that video, and then for the Ori one, when they were showing actual side by side shots of what it means to be 60 frames versus 120.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people don't understand unless you do those things and you go look at the exact differences we're talking about. Sometimes you just say a number and people can't put a visual to what numbers mean. But when you go, that's what that is. Like, I wanted to shout it out that, but I forgot to. So, Destiny 2 Beyond Light made an appearance from Bungie, coming 2020 into Series X, Xbox One, and PC, and about every other damn thing you can play on. Destiny 2 is coming to Game Pass, including Beyond Light. So Destiny 2 seems to be getting the complete treatment on Game Pass.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. That's actually like, super intriguing to me. Because, I get another giant shooter MMO for $15.
You know what else is on Game Pass that I didn't realize until I looked it up earlier? Not saying that this is worth getting it for, but Fallout 76.
Oh, sorry, a giant game that, while it might be broken and have some problems, is available for $15? Perfect.
I think the interesting part about this, and it's not surprising knowing how the contracts work and everything, but that we saw it at Xbox and not on PlayStation.
Yes. Well, PlayStation had to deal with Activision, not with Bungie.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's always been the joke there, or not the joke, but like that was the thing. I didn't expect to see them after Activision. I didn't expect to see it because they always had their partnership for it happened to be Destiny and Call of Duty and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Beyond Light going there is massive.
Oh,
because I assume that's setting a precedent for their other expansions as they release to also just become a part of Game Pass. So, yeah, you don't have to. You just pay the $15. It's so good, man.
Yeah, and that opens it up too to a whole different sect of people. Like, I would not have played Beyond Light, but since it's a part of Game Pass,
I haven't gone back to Destiny 2.
Yeah, I would consider it because, I get a month of Game Pass for $15, and then I can play it and not feel guilty about buying it.
Even then, if you were doing that, I'd be like, let's go. And I would just link my account back to my Xbox, or, to my Xbox account and play on my PC and be like, cool, I have Game Pass and I am playing the latest and greatest updated version of Destiny. And since I haven't played from like the beginning, I have a lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it's $15. Like, whew, blows my mind, Matt. Mind blown meme with like the explosion thing coming out of the side of my head, or the old, finger point to the head. Like, why spend 60 when you spend 15?
Oh yeah, the finger point meme. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Finger point meme. I never remember his name, but I was going to say the guy's name.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is either.
Then we get Sark's biggest excitement out of this entire thing. The one and only Mr. Sark. If you're not following him or not subscribed to him on YouTube, you should go be subscribed to him. And then you should also follow him on Twitch at the Mr. Sark. Free shout out to the 6 people that might be listening. Stalker 2 from GSC Game World, coming 2021 to the Series X and PC. The trailer has about double the amount of views as any of the other showcase trailers, which is just a fun fact because it's Stalker, a game that a niche crowd, as far as I'm concerned, is aware of and hasn't. The Stalker Complete mod is 2013 maybe. I don't remember when the original Stalker came out, but the Complete mod was to fix and like retool a lot of the Stalker stuff, and now there's a 2.
Yeah, soccer community always surprises me because I assume the game is niche, but I don't. Maybe it's not as much as we think it is.
Maybe, but you just never hear it talked about.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it kind of makes sense because like a lot of games that have been popular recently kind of fit in that same vein, like Escape from Tarkov, and like they all kind of have a similar vibe and similar.
And who knows? Maybe because it falls into the Fallout vein.
Yeah, Fallout, and
it's
survival,
nuclear problems, radiation.
Dude, when it first started playing, I thought it was Chernobylite. I was like,
right,
okay, so Chernobylite? Like, what?
Yeah, I was like, that would have been weird. But then when I saw Stalker 2, I was like, there's no fucking way that's a real title. Like, no way they made a second one. But also remember, I mean, we did have Chernobyl, the HBO series, highly, loved and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's kind of in the zeitgeist right now.
Even though Chernobyl was a while ago, it's still, that flame is still there for everybody to have.
Yeah, that curiosity.
These curiosity things, and even though Stalker doesn't necessarily take place in Chernobyl, it's just that hard Fallout world.
Yeah.
Or even Fallout has gotten away from being the difficulty that Stalker is.
Exactly. To give you an idea of the numbers too on the viewership, Stalker 2, when I looked, was just shy of 1 million views, and like Halo Infinite was under 500,000.
Which that's insane.
Yeah, and the same for what was the other big one, Fable. It was under 500,000.
Well, Fable, there's nothing to show, so
yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Then, after Stalker, we moved on to Warhammer 40k Darktide from Fat Shark, coming in 2021 to Series X and PC. A new 4-player co-op game set in Hive Tertium. Fight together with your friends against hordes of enemies in this new Warhammer 40k adventure. Looked like a Space Marine take on the Vermintide style, where you go in with 4 people and slaughter a bunch of baddies.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a format for Vermintide.
Yeah, Vermintide's just like the old fantasy style, swords, magic.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was like a 4-player co-op thing.
It can be. It can be 2-player.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah, I think it's. I think when you play 2-player, I think it'd be 2-player with 2-person AI as well.
Interesting.
And I think it's available on Game Pass for $15. I'm just saying.
Beating that drum.
I'm never gonna stop. Screw it. I'm gonna sell out now for Game Pass because I don't understand how people don't love it.
I think people do love it. It's just no one talks about it.
It needs to be more talked about because clearly games media is failing you. If I'm not seeing headlines discussing it.
Well, I think that's kind of the problem, though. Is like games media lives in a different world than than people do, like regular people.
That's always been the giant problem.
Like
that's why we exist. Damn it.
Games media gets free games. Like they don't have to worry about paying for games, so like they don't care really about Game Pass or like all these other services.
Yeah, and it's always been a problem for. I'm not getting into that conversation.
Yeah.
That's going to get me down a rabbit hole. We're never going to finish this episode. After that tangent comes Tetris Effect. Connected. Enhance Studios. From holiday 2020 to the Series X, Xbox One, and PC. The original game, Tetris Effect, with an all-new co-op and competitive online and local multiplayer modes. And it still looks just as pretty and fun as the original Tetris Effect that I still haven't bought, but I'm really, really tempted every time I see it. Fun fact, the Tetris Effect Connect, which is the multiplayer expansion that I'm talking about, it's just going to be on Series X, Xbox One, and PC first in holiday 2020, and then will come as a free update if you already own the game, I believe in summer of 21. So,
ooh.
If you already own the game, you'll still get this update, just it's timed, so don't worry about it.
Nice.
Yeah, every time I see Tetris Effect, and screw it, there's a Epic Games summer sale going on right now. I might go see what its price is and buy it after this. Because I love me Tetris 99 on the Switch, but what if I had Tetris Effect on my PC and just then, yeah, why not?
For sure.
The next game is The Gunk from Thunderful Publishing, coming September 2021 to Series X and Xbox One and PC. Embark on an all-new adventure in a vast and exotic world where you'll encounter terrifying enemies and challenging puzzles on your quest to unravel the mystery of a forgotten planet while saving it in the process. It looked like a gooey game.
It did look like a gooey game. It kind of just, like, I don't know, for some reason, something about this game just, like, offended me.
Yes, I agree. There were, like, parts that she's, like, sucking up the sludge or gunk, whatever, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that.
And her, like, big hand, and she had these, like, a skinny leg, and, like, I don't know, I was just like, I don't
And
understand.
then that random, like, monster that shows up at the end, and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I pass.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard pass for me.
This will be I watch someone play. Then we come to The Medium from Bloober Team, coming holiday 2020 to Series X and PC. I just hit my mic stand. Travel to an old communist resort and use your unique psychic abilities to uncover its disturbing secrets. Solve dual reality puzzles, survive encounters with sinister spirits, and explore two realities at the same time.
Yeah. A little interesting tidbit I threw in there for you. Thought it was interesting.
The second part you're telling me?
Yeah.
All right. The Medium was originally announced for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii U in 2012. But for want of better technology, reappeared in May 2020 as a Microsoft Windows and Xbox Series X title, scheduled to be released in the fourth quarter of the year.
Yeah. Found that little tidbit on Wikipedia.
So I didn't know about the first part of that tidbit.
Yes, that was the important part. I just grabbed the
I knew the second part of it because we had talked about it from the previous event.
Yep.
They showed it. Her sitting in the church and things.
Did not realize that it was like, essentially the idea or the game... the IP and the idea was that old.
You're right. I wouldn't have thought that on the 360, PS3, and Wii U in 2012, and then using the reason of a want for better technology when literally the next year the new consoles came out, and that wasn't enough. So they waited 7 more years.
Yeah, that's like that idea blows my mind. And the fact that they accomplished the wait, I just don't understand.
Well, it's because I think it just went into silent. Like, nobody remembered it.
Well, yeah, but like, what were they doing? Did they make a different game?
Who knows? It actually looked really interesting. It is 100% not a game for me.
No.
But I'm super intrigued to see like the technical side of it because they're saying they're rendering both worlds at the same time, and the idea of moving back and forth and showing you how if you're looking at a wall and you jump to the other world, that wall, and there might not even be there could be an entire other thing going on. I was like, it looks really interesting, but at the same time, those games, those like horror style games, they are not me. They are not me at all.
I feel exactly the same way. I will never play it probably, but I'm really intrigued to see how it works.
I'm intrigued to like watch somebody else play it, and like I could watch somebody play it, but I have no interest in myself making myself the jump scare.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we move on to Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis from Sega. You guys remember them? Coming 2021 to the Xbox One and PC, an online action RPG. I believe it's an expansion to the online action RPG Phantasy Star Online. Will support Xbox Series X in the future. So hey, if you like Phantasy Star Online 2, you get an expansion, plus you'll eventually go to Series X. So good news for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to Crossfire X from Smilegate, co-developed with Remedy, coming 2020 to the Series X and Xbox One. a fast-paced, first-person shooter offering a variety of exhilarating multiplayer experiences and a cinematic campaign that explores the global conflict between the world's two most formidable private military factions, which this entire trailer from the show was focused specifically on the campaign aspects. And they played XCOM Give It To You.
I immediately was turned off by the name of the game. I was like, all right, what is this cheap shit? And then I watched the trailer, and I was like, intriguing.
What is this good-looking cheap
I
shit?
was like, I'm intrigued. Like, what is... This looks like it could be interesting.
It could be for $15 on Game Pass.
Whoa.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, I was watching and I was like, oh yeah, that's this game. And then I heard the song and I was like, I'm just listening only to the music. And I realized they were playing a version of XCOM Give It To You. And I was like, that is great. It's everything I want.
Classic.
And the final thing the show had was Fable. From Playground Games, coming to Series X and PC. According to rumors, this is an actual MMO set in the Fable universe. Well, let's not get those rumors going around. Via a French journalist who leaked the game's showcase lineup ahead of time.
Well, there's nothing to talk about, so I figured let's just find something to talk about.
Let's just like the idea that there's a new Fable on the way.
If you say so.
Let's just stop there.
All right.
I don't want to think it's an MMO, Matt, because that doesn't bode well for its longevity.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of it being an MMO.
Here's the thing. The universe, and can it be done? 100%. Will it be done to my satisfaction and thoughts? No. The pessimist in me is already saying no.
Did you notice who's making it?
Playground.
Yeah. That's weird, right?
Is it?
Playground Games?
Sorry, why is it weird?
All they've made is Forza Horizon games.
Right. But I thought we had... I guess, yes. So, yes, technically, based on that, yes, it's weird. But I believe when we were discussing the rumors, it was that they were making it, so that's why it didn't shock me.
Yeah. We knew that they were doing it, but it's interesting that this developer...
But that doesn't mean MMO. That just means open world to me.
I know. I'm just saying, like, it's a weird move for them, is my point.
Yeah. Going from one style of game to a completely different one.
Yeah. And, like, you usually get... The fun thing about that is you usually get one extreme or the other. You either get, like, a really bad game, or you get, like, something that's, like, blows you away because, you know...
Or you at least hope that they introduce new systems that are, fun and not garbage and stuff like that, if it truly is an MMO. But here's the thing. The universe sets itself up well because it's a fantasy universe with all those aspects of it that we've come to know and love of fighting, magic, and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And character creation, and you're doing this whole thing, you're going on your journey, blah, blah, blah. It's 100% is possible to be done. You get up in a group, you go through like a cave or like your dungeon/strike equivalent of going through caves or clearing wizarding towers and stuff like that. Can it be done? 100%. Do I think it's going to get done to what I'm thinking it should be? No, I don't think so. But I want to be proved wrong, Matt.
Yeah. I mean,
regardless of even if it's not to my thought process or anything, I want it to be good.
I mean, really,
version of itself it is.
Really, what I would prefer is a reboot.
Yes, also would be cool.
But I think the MMO version, the MMO rumor has merit because the last game that was Fable, and I think it was inevitably canceled, was a multiplayer game, if I remember correctly. It was like a team-based, like, multiplayer thingamajigger.
Wasn't that the one that was canceled?
Yeah, it was canceled.
Yeah, it's the one that they showed.
Fable
like
Legends.
4v4.
Yep.
The trailer shows them like running into a maze to fight each other or something.
Yep. Cooperative action role-playing video game, which was canceled.
Yeah. Right.
But like
so
that's the last direction they were thinking of taking the franchise was multiplayer. So I'm like, I could see them being like, let's just
multiplayer makes sense. I just don't know that. Well, I guess it also falls into the lines of like, what do you want to define as an MMO? Because I'm sure if I define Destiny as an MMO, somebody would fight me about it, but it is.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like I see when I say MMO, I'm thinking like
right
anything. Destiny.
So if it's
WoW,
a Destiny style MMO, well,
whatever.
So if it's a Destiny style MMO, I think it's better than if it goes to like a WoW style MMO.
Unfortunately, I kind of am assuming it. I have a feeling, or I think that if I'm Microsoft, I'm trying to get a chunk of the money that like you get from like the Old Republic or Elder Scrolls. The like
you are and you aren't though because of Game Pass. That $15 month subscription.
Yeah, but there's like the
because they're not going to make you pay for Game Pass and a subscription to that.
That's true, but that's a huge group of people that might otherwise not be paying, Game Pass fee.
Right. I just don't think that I think when I say Destiny style, what I mean by the Destiny style of MMO versus the
you're saying like MMO light.
Yeah, MMO light, and I'm thinking specifically around the idea that you can still go off and do things entirely by yourself in a controlled. How Destiny is still open world, but it's not.
Oh, for sure. Like I can't.
But WoW is not that. WoW is the most pinnacle MMO. Go anywhere, do anything type of thing. Like no. Scale it down to MMO like Destiny style.
Yeah, like this wouldn't survive if it wasn't able to be soloed.
Have a town where that is your tower, and you have that's where you can see other player. You remember do it like Guild Wars. That actually would be perfect.
Dude, I would be so down for that if it was built like Guild Wars 1,
like the original Guild Wars, and it was Fable.
Yeah, which would make a lot of sense because the whole concept, like Fable's combat, was always similar in that way, where it was like almost overly simplified, which kind of made it nice.
Set it in such a way that you go to town, and that's where you can see everybody. But the moment you essentially zone out of town, unless they're in your group, they're gone. Yeah.
You instance into the world and then do your own thing with your group.
Right. And whether your group is just you or your friends, and then you can control the entire thing still going that way. In the moment you go back to another town, boom, you're zoned in, and then there's people again. I remember doing the runs of Drax runs, or going up to when you went into Eye of the North and you went and met Olaf, third son of Olaf at Olafstead. That's a whole joke that I hope I don't know if you get, but Todd will at least be happy with me. Because there's a place called Olafstead, and I think the person there was Olaf, seventh son of Olaf, or Olaf Olafsson, or something like that. It was a whole joke. But every time you went into a town, it was zoned into a town, and then you had other people that were all part of that town. But then when you walked out again, you were back in your own world. And doing that with Fable would actually be very cool. So if they go, and that's still pretty much full MMO territory, kind of. So I'd be I guess that's like semi MMO light, kind of. Yeah. Because Star Wars is akin to WoW, Elder Scrolls is akin to WoW, where you just run around and there's always people and blah blah blah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that's MMO light because that's kind of like Destiny territory.
Right, yeah. So I would say stick with MMO light, but like Fable MMO light would have potential to be very, very good. Yeah. Yeah. To the point where Matt and I will both be playing Fable MMO light if it exists in that capacity.
Yeah, for sure. I would wreck that. All right, you had hardware thoughts.
Yeah, so the hardware thoughts. Good, because I almost just moved us right on. My hardware thoughts are a lot of the discussion around this was the stupid, PlayStation 1, blah, 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 blah. I have no reason to buy an Xbox and yada, yada. Based on what...
from Twitter, you're saying?
Yeah, from Twitter and some Reddit shits and stuff like that. Which
I
think is just I think it's just the PlayStation fanboys and the haters coming out to hate anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see where anyone could jump to that conclusion, but
I think the one thing that was clear, and it's not that it's a bad thing. I just don't think if you're an Xbox One player right now, I don't know that they gave you a reason to buy a Series X yet.
yeah, I agree with that. And Microsoft, we kind of talked on it a little bit before we started.
And Microsoft already kind of conceded it.
Yeah, Microsoft already conceded that, and that's kind of part of their business plan.
Yeah, so it's like that's the one thing on the hardware thought is I don't know if they really showed you a reason yet to jump on the Series X day and date.
Mm-hmm. But
but in the future, with the things of Forza and State of Decay and the other things that they have shown are coming to Series X, they've given you the reason in the future to make the jump.
Yeah, I'm looking back on the list now, and everything that they showed that was Xbox Series X and PC only were all games that are probably pretty far out. So, like State of Decay, we got a cinematic.
They're at least a year.
Yep.
At least next holiday.
Yeah, so we got State of Decay, which is cinematic. We got Forza Motorsports, which was like
beautifully cinematic,
early in development. Elder Wild, maybe that would be the only one.
Outer Wild.
That was the rare one. Avowed, which was clearly a cinematic. Senua's Saga, which they were still talking about location shooting or whatever, so they're clearly still early development. Stalker 2, which was an in-engine. There was some wonkiness going on with that. I don't know if you read about that, but it was not gameplay footage. It was they had some weird way of describing it where it was essentially in-engine, but it wasn't like, you know, gameplay. And then Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide, which was a cinematic.
And the Medium.
Cinematic. I'm still going. And the Medium.
Oh, sorry.
Which was cinematic. And then Fable, obviously, which
is the furthest away out of all of them.
Oh, yeah. So, like, all the games that are Series X only are at least a year out.
Yeah. So it's like, if, hey, you're still playing Xbox One? Perfect. We still have things for you. You'll still be able to play the new Halo. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Give yourself a year. Now you can start kind of planning. Give yourself a window. Like, hey, we're going to build up to the Series X when you're going to actually want it.
Backing up what you said, too, like what I saw in the stuff I was looking at was a lot of journalists were complaining that Microsoft had reneged on their commitment to not forcing people to buy Series X with all these games that we just mentioned that are coming only to Series X. And I think it's just not necessarily... I think it's maybe a little bit of a messaging issue.
Yeah, it's like they're not coming right now.
Yeah, where they should have built it. They should have built it more of like, these games are all coming in the future for Series X, but like these are things that are going to be coming out soon for both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hey, you're still going to be able to play what's currently latest and greatest, but going forward, like, hey, you're going to eventually need to switch.
Yeah.
But the other thing, funny little tidbit. Apparently, the Halo thing they showed was on a build from over a year ago.
A build from over a year ago.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's like, why did you show that then?
That would why
you couldn't recut that. But hey, whatever.
Yeah.
That was the rumor going around. Is that was over a year old footage.
Interesting.
Which over a year old footage, or like a year old footage, would put it as they purposely chose not to show that at E3.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also interesting.
Yeah, that kind of makes me think. I don't know how I feel about that, because like that could be either they're holding back intentionally, which we rarely find that to be the case, or they like that's all they had.
Yeah,
that was working and ready.
And if that was the case a year ago, I would have been okay with it.
Yeah,
that's the case now. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, knowing how games are developed and vertical slices and how much of a pain in the ass they could be, it could just be them being late. Like, I don't want to say lazy, but like, you know, like they had the vertical slice already and they were just like, let's just reuse it.
Yeah, or they had it, or like even then they might have still had somebody for the last couple of months being like trying to make a better one, and they just were never convinced that they had made a better one. They said, screw it.
Yeah, that is weird though. That's really bizarre.
And then we'll get to the final story before we wrap up to hit our personal stuff and get out of here.
Yeah. What's old is new again, apparently. So let's talk about G4 TV. It started, if you're not familiar with G4 TV, it's a little old. So I'll give you a quick recap. Started in 2002 and broadcasted all kinds of video game themed programs for years. Popular shows include Attack of the Show and X-Play. G4 TV is where plenty of popular figures in the gaming industry got to kickstart their careers, including Adam Sessler, Jeff Keighley, Olivia Munn, Morgan Webb, and more.
Bruce Green, James Williams, Joel Rubin, Adam Kovic.
G4 TV stopped all production in 2014, which brings us to today. G4 TV surprised everyone with an appearance at Comic-Con at Home and various tweets across its show's Twitter accounts. Each tweet includes a video of a warehouse that ends with a TV set playing an incredibly high-scoring game of Pong. Once the music stops and the TV is interrupted, to show a G4 TV logo with the words "We never stopped playing" and 2021.
Yep. So that's a thing.
That is a thing. We've talked about this fairly recently. I feel like people trying to bring things to TV that shouldn't be on TV.
Yeah, I talked about it during the Quibi thing, and then there was also the discussion around. I don't know if we had a discussion, but that Venn thing, VENN, that exists. That's supposed to be game focused things like that, and I was just
so. The TV thing alludes to that it actually being G4 TV revival, which would be bad.
It would be terrible. Bad.
If it's like a new iteration where it'd be like a YouTube channel or like a streaming thing, maybe.
Yeah, if they were just gonna make a streaming thing where you can sign up to G4 TV and have that, and you can just you can have the G4 TV app on your Apple TV, Chromecast, Google Home, Fire TV, whatever, and you just watch the shows there. Like, okay, that's more doable.
Yeah.
I mean, the jokes from a lot of people are, what are you going to show for the other half of the day that you don't have the cops license anymore?
Yeah, I know, right? That's the thing is, like, I don't think you could fit, like, there's just not, you'd lack content.
If there's a large potential problem where they don't learn their mistakes from over a decade ago and die immediately again.
Yeah, I mean, my issue is that with this is that it's from the same people. Like, it's the same. Right. It's still owned by the same people.
But none of the personalities that made it what it was seem to have any idea what's going on.
Yeah, so you mentioned that earlier. I'm curious. Like, literally none of them.
Sessler seemed shocked. Pereira tweeted out a Hello World code. So maybe he knows, but I'm not sure. Morgan made a joke about surprised that somebody knew the login to the Twitter account. James and Joel, and Bruce all were like, we haven't been told anything. Not that they were ever big parts there, but they were.
Yeah,
they were there, and they have since gotten large in the media, gaming media space. In terms of like other people just not knowing anything, Naomi Kyle made a joke like if they need her for anything, let her know. Altano made a joke about if they would need help writing something, he'd be down or whatever. And then from the fan perspective, a bunch of people are like, "Oh my god, I hope this is real."
I don't get that.
Blah.
Like,
I understand what you think you want,
Yeah,
but you're wrong.
yeah. That's exactly it. Like I have I think back fondly on watching X-Play and stuff like that, but like it would never.
Tech TV, that was on it too.
Yeah, Tech TV, that was so good. I don't think, it would have to be like so different. So different.
It has to adapt to 2020, and I don't know that they can.
Yeah, that's my issue. And 2021 is like kind of far away.
I mean, if you're going to drop the announcement and hopefully give yourself, depending on what, they specifically don't say when in 2021, but if you're giving yourself 6 months head start for January, that is not soon. That is too soon.
I don't get why though. Like, what's the if you're just like, why would you even announce it now? Like,
yeah, I guess if you're trying to do the streaming service idea and hype train, I can understand it an extent, because I assume that you would launch or open the give us money window before you drop content, in the scum idea of trying to get money in before we release things they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, yeah, the announcement is kind of like whatever. But everybody that's just like, I can't wait for this to be back, I don't think are realizing that it was never the shows and everything like that without the personalities are not going to be what you guys want. You guys fell in love with the personality, all that stuff. Those people seemingly are just no longer involved. So You're going to have your new version of Sessler, and that person I feel so sorry for if they are reviving that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Somebody in that position.
I feel like this, to be successful, you'd have to be going after the people who know what it is, which would require you to have at least some of the personalities involved.
Yeah, even if they're not on a forward phase, even on just like a writing thing. But
yeah. And if they're not involved and you're not going after, the people who know what it is, then what's the point in even announcing it?
Yeah, are you coming back to do Snapchat stories and Instagram live feeds?
Yeah, then don't announce it, because you don't need to worry about getting the people that would know what it is. Like, you could just launch it like a traditional new service.
So, I mean, I'm intrigued to see what it is, but the people that are like, I'm so ready for this, I'm like, I don't know that you are.
Yeah, I'm not.
I really don't know that you are. It's a classic case of you and I constantly having our expectations low.
Mm-hmm.
And just watching some people get carried away that are so over the moon about this, and I'm like, nothing yet.
Yeah.
As far like that video tells you nothing.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I mean, I'll watch it. I'll watch everything proceed for entertainment value.
Right. Yes, I will. I will watch from behind the curtains and like peek my eyes through the blinders at the house and like, ooh, what's going on over there?
Yeah, exactly.
And I will watch with curious eyes to see how it goes. Just even before they drop content, what is your business model? What are you even doing? Are you actually going to try to drop a TV show again? That's a terrible decision. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what happens.
Same.
Watch the world burn. Yeah, so that's it. Even though this is a very long episode, I knew it was going to be, because getting through Microsoft was going to take a very long time. But what have you been up to, Matt?
The only thing, let's see here. Well, I finished The Last of Us Part 2.
Thoughts? You don't have to go deep, but thoughts.
I mean, generally, I didn't. Objectively, I get that it's a high. It's. How do I don't even know if I like it objectively. That's the thing. It's like I generally did not enjoy my experience with it we'll say.
Okay.
I wasn't a huge fan of the combat. I found it frustrating at times. And the story was just like not fleshed out, really. It was just frustrating. The whole game was just frustrating. I mean, it was pretty. It didn't really break. It was well made, but I wasn't a huge fan of the direction they did with the story. Not a huge fan of the characters, and yeah, that's where I'm at with that game. I give it like a solid 7 out of 10, I guess, or 6 or 7, probably 7, I guess. I mean, cinematics were good, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't. I think my expectations might have been too high, as well. So
Right.
part of it was me.
Played yourself.
I did. Played myself.
Yeah, I mean, all those things make sense to me. I pretty much agree with you. I think my score is higher of an 8, but there were definite problems that I think could have been better. I think if we played as Abby first, spoilers, I guess. Just heads up, if you haven't played, stop listening.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week. If you played as Abby first and they hadn't touted anything about, like, they shot themselves in the foot a little bit with the marketing.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like, whatever with the leak, I don't even feel the leak really affects it if you play as Abby first.
I didn't even look at the leak or anything like that.
No, neither did I.
Okay.
But I believe the leak was the killing of Joel.
Oh, which that happens like almost
right
immediately.
Away. Yeah. But I think if you had played as Abby first and put that part in the middle and then Ellie, I think that fixes a lot of problems. And then I think you cut Santa Barbara out completely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely think they should have reversed. Yeah. I mean, the Santa Barbara thing, that's kind of part of my issue with it, is that part of the allure of Uncharted, or I keep saying Uncharted, but kind of the allure of Naughty Dog games.
Same game.
With like The Last of Us, the first one, and the Uncharted games, is that like you feel like you're in a world and you're kind of exploring that world while also going through the story. And it's almost like another character in Naughty Dog games. And like this game, you literally spend so much time in Seattle in the same fucking locations, and it all looks exactly the same. It just was bland and like downtrodden the whole time. And like there were some little sparks of light. Like the island was a really cool idea.
Yeah, and the island had probably the best like action shot stretch in it there as you're going through the fire.
Yeah, and that's where you felt the most satisfied with the combat too, because like it kind of played to your strengths at that point. And then, for me at least, and then like I don't really have as much of an issue with Santa Barbara because it was different, and it was my issue with Santa Barbara is that there wasn't more of it. Like if you wanted to have Santa Barbara in the game and have that been a thing, we should have spent more time there and significantly less time in Seattle.
Right, yeah. The time scale, if you're looking at like a sliding scale of Seattle on the left and Santa Barbara on the right, should have just gone back more to the middle, and instead it was very heavily towards Seattle, leaving you little time in Santa Barbara to explain or tell you any reason or anything going on there.
Yeah, for sure. Like the whole pacing, like all the pacing was just all over the place.
Yeah, pacing was... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, you know.
Yeah. Definitely, I don't know. It just was weird. Like, I don't know. It's like hard for me to like, having played all the other Naughty Dog games, it just seems like they just took this in a weird direction or something. Like, dropped the ball. I don't know. Like, I just don't even know what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird. I don't know. Weird-esque. I can kind of see what everything was supposed to be, but then I feel like some things probably just got in their own way.
Yeah, they were like,
whether or not they were too proud of them to kill, like to just cut those sections out or something. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it was something.
It was a game.
Yeah, it was a game. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts on it. We might talk about it again at some point. I'm still kind of processing it to a certain extent.
I'm wondering if it'll have like the Red Dead effect. And not to that extent. I know it won't have it to that extent.
Yeah, a little bit of the Red
like,
Dead hangover.
When you and I go back to like discussing things and thinking about it, and it's like I wish I could play Red Dead again, having wiped my memory of it.
Yeah.
Because every time I think back on it, I remember I was enjoying how much more I enjoyed certain sections and stuff like that. But at the time, and I still stand by it, God of War was the game of the year that year because it had no pacing problems. Everything was all good. But
yeah, God of War was
like
killer.
God of War was like perfectly all the way through. Like when you were down for a little bit of time, you weren't ever down for long, and you were down with a reason to be down in terms of like slowness.
Mm-hmm.
You were slowed down as hey, we're still moving forward, we're still doing things. Let's continue to tell the story using Mimir's head and Archaeus and everything. And, like, you had a reason, and they still made it all work. But then other times, like within Red Dead, kind of during Act 3, where everything just kind of grinds to a halt because it's this giant section you need to get through. Kind of paced it a little poorly. And then in Last of Us 2, the entire thing is just sections of like, what the heck? Why is this so long? So.
Yup. And then outside of The Last of Us, after, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima. Which
which we talked about. So.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yep. I'll probably, I gotta play more Ghost. I'll probably finish SpongeBob this week, hopefully. I think I'm pretty close to done with that. Been playing MLB, been playing Football Manager. And that's it.
Yeah, there was an update for SnowRunner. I played a little bit of that, maybe 2 hours or so. But I don't know. I might play some more of it. I might not. I don't know.
Hey, never know. But that's been the entire podcast. If you made it this long, thanks. If you didn't hear this part, but I understand. So we will see you guys in 7 days. Bye-bye.